Have you ever met someone who always smiles and says it's okay? Who always stands in the middle between two sides, finding an exit for every tense moment? They dislike arguments, dislike raised voices, dislike the feeling of the air suddenly freezing. You will never see them get emotionally agitated. You will only see them smiling and smoothing things over in the most awkward situations. They might be the one taking photos at a friend's gathering, or the one adding food to everyone's plates and clearing the dishes at family dinners. They do it just right. Not saying too much, not annoying anyone. But they are also always the first to be overlooked. They seem very gentle, very sensible, very considerate, as if they were born with a talent for creating peace. But if you get a little closer, you will find that they are actually very tired. Behind the smile are stiff shoulders and a tense jaw. Every time others argue, their palms sweat. Every time someone raises their voice, their breathing becomes shallow without realizing it. Their body is always on guard, but their expression must remain soft, like a bird standing on the water's surface. What you see is calm feathers, but underwater, the feet are paddling non-stop. They do not want to be the mediator. They are just afraid of chaos, afraid of voices getting louder, afraid of conflicts erupting, afraid of everyone stopping talking, leaving only silence in the air. So they act in advance, using smiles to cover the unease in the atmosphere, using self-concession to balance others' dissatisfaction. They are not helping others solve problems. They are preventing problems from getting worse, or rather, they are preventing themselves from being dragged in. You might be that person, sensitive since childhood. You can detect changes in someone's tone with just one sentence. You immediately step back at the slightest impatient glance from others. Not because you're cowardly, but because you learn to read the room earlier than others. Sometimes, you unconsciously start scanning everyone's faces, judging who is in a bad mood today, who might snap, then laying down a soft blanket in advance, so the person about to fall has a place to land. You do not really want everyone to be happy. You are just too afraid of relationships breaking. So you keep working hard to maintain peace, even if the cost is sacrificing yourself. You know others will be fine after arguing, but it takes you days to relax your body, to slowly crawl out of that tense state. You have always been playing the role of the it's okay person. You keep saying, I am fine, but actually, you are very scared. You just learned too early to hide your fear. You always think twice before speaking, not because you are verbose, but because you want to make sure the sentence won't upset anyone. You predict every possible reaction in advance, then choose the mildest response. You do not hog the spotlight in groups. You nod when others speak. When others oppose you, you smile and say, yes, yes, you're right, even if you do not fully agree inside. So you swallow those want to say but didn't sentences bit by bit. Others say you are easy to get along with. You are so sensible. It's reassuring to have you around. You smile and say thank you, but inside you feel a bit empty, as if what they like is not your true self, but the comfort you create for them. In the family, you are also that quiet, responsible person. During arguments, you are not the protagonist. You are the intermediary who silently hands tissues, grabs the mop, and says stop fighting. You catch others when they emotionally collapse. You comfort them when they feel guilty. But no one has asked you, are you okay? You are too used to being the person who doesn't trouble others. You endure even when sick. You keep smiling even when tired. Even when deeply wronged, you just say, I can handle it. You always yield, always adjust yourself to fit others. The same in intimate relationships. You worry more about whether you're too emotional, afraid that one slip will make the other think you are difficult. So you become more careful, more gentle, even learning to express dislike through jokes. You habitually apologize first, even if it's not your fault. You fear others' cold faces, fear that moment of ignoring you. You would rather wrong yourself a bit than see others lose control. Over time, your life becomes very quiet. No noise, no conflicts, but also no real you. You have just made keeping peace a habit, so deep that you yourself cannot tell whether this is politeness or fear. You might have always thought you naturally dislike conflict, but actually, no. You are not born with a good temper. You just learned too early that anger brings unease, that no one comforts you after arguments, so you simply quiet yourself down in advance. This is a strategy, a way of survival. You learned silence, not because you did not want to speak, but because you knew too well that speaking was useless. Speaking might make it worse, so you trained yourself to read cues. You became an atmosphere analyst, scanning as soon as you entered the door. Is Mom's gaze soft today? Will Dad suddenly slam the door? Did Brother break a bowl again? Your little mind processed information quickly, entering regulation mode faster than anyone. This state is called hypervigilance. It is not sensitivity. It is the radar system you use to protect yourself. It helps you avoid disasters. It also helps you appear obedient, sensible, no trouble before you can say, "I'm scared." You became the person stabilizing emotions, because there was no stable person around you. You became the family mediator, because no one mediated for you. This is attachment coping. You trade low demands for connection. You trade high adaptation for survival. You learn to take care of others' emotions first, because no one ever asked what you were thinking. And every time you successfully avoid conflict, you get a bit of comfort, as if the world not exploding was your merit. This feedback loop keeps reinforcing you. See, if you stay quiet, it passes. See, if you endure, everyone is comfortable. So you repeat, until you forget that you can have boundaries too, that you can dislike things, can oppose, cannot smile, cannot catch others' bad emotions. But you never learned how to refuse. You only learned how to adjust, not because you are weak, but because you made adjustment instinct. Others see you as gentle, steady, well-mannered. They say you have such a good temper, but they do not see that you are exhausting yourself every day just to make the world a bit quieter. You are not selfless. You just feel that if you are a bit more selfish, the family will collapse. But you forgot. You are also the child who needs protection. You are not being a hero. You are just escaping chaos. Your smile is not sunshine. It is an emergency shelter. You protect others while ignoring yourself, to the point where you now have trouble knowing who I really am. Do you remember that silent dinner table? You were probably only 6. It was an ordinary evening, but you always remember it. Father put down his chopsticks heavily. Mother did not look at him, just kept picking food. You picked up a piece of fish and said softly, "Dad, you like this?" Then put it in his bowl. That was your first time intervening in adult silence. You were not sure if you did the right thing, but you saw Father take a bite, saw Mother sigh. The table regained sounds, even if briefly. From then on, you started noticing whose face was unhappy, whose tone was off. You would hand tissues or water in advance. You would lower your voice, using the gentlest way to keep things from getting worse. No one taught you how. You were just very smart. Adults said this child is so thoughtful. No one knew. You were just too afraid of the explosion after silence. You learned to think for others, because no one thought for you they could have. You learned not to cry or fuss, because every cry stopped being dramatic. You learned to make yourself invisible, because you found that as long as you caused no trouble, things would not hurt you. You even anticipated adults' moods in advance, helping them with lines, like saying, "I know you did not mean to snap. I know you are just tired from work." You learned to make excuses for others, to trade for a chance of not getting worse. When you were still very young, you already took on the role of emotional buffer. You do not remember who gave you the task, but you did it very well. You carried the entire adult emotional system in your small body. You regulated for them and survived for yourself. You thought this was maturity. Actually, it was just precocity. It was not being allowed to be a child. You did not learn how to express anger. You only learned suppression. You did not learn how to face disappointment. You only learned endurance. With every seemed sensible action, you traded for moments of family stability, and traded away your ability to express true feelings. From that day, you started habitually smiling through tears, habitually shouldering problems, habitually tuning yourself to the least troublesome before others spoke. Gradually, you no longer needed others to argue. You would automatically enter calming mode. When you enter a room, your first reaction is not to admire the view, but to sense if there is tension in the air. You became more and more perceptive. But this perceptiveness is no longer just a skill. It became a self-requirement. You started believing, if I understand others enough, I won't be blamed. If I maintain peace, I won't be abandoned. If I always have no problems, no one will leave. You did not say it out loud, but these beliefs are etched into your behavior. You made stabilizing the atmosphere your responsibility. Even if it means hiding your true self. You started suppressing emotions, because you thought emotions equal trouble. You started denying needs, because you felt needing equals vulnerability. You dared not express anger, because you feared that after anger, relationships would break, love would vanish. You always think about whether others are taken care of, but rarely does anyone ask if you are tired. You are used to being fine with everyone, but you start to blur the line between who I am and what they need me to be. This is the cost, not a dramatic collapse, but a chronic drain. You smile in crowds, yet feel yourself becoming more transparent. You are meticulous in intimate relationships, yet often feel lonely. You are clearly doing the right thing, yet becoming less happy. You become exhausted. You increasingly do not want to talk, because you spend too much energy filtering every word's possible reaction. You increasingly dare not get close, because you fear that once someone really approaches, you will expose your not-so-good side. You even start fearing needing to be understood. You tell yourself, I should handle it myself. I cannot make others worry. I am the one who is always fine. You disguise this high-functioning well. Others cannot see you are slowly overdrawing, because you still smile, still do things, still care. But only you know. You have long been emotionally powered off. You start becoming numb. Start doubting if you have the right to express dissatisfaction. Start feeling that any not gentle enough moment will make you lose all love. This is not maturity. This is compensation. The connection you trade with silence. is essentially conditional existence. You do not want to be unseen. You are just too used to being background. You do not lack desire for hugs. You were just afraid that getting close will suffocate others. You were never truly needless. You just went too long without being allowed to have needs. This cost does not explode suddenly. It only lands on your shoulders one deep night, in the form of so tired don't know why. Slowly. That moment you realize you have been caring for the whole world, except yourself. Maybe one day you suddenly realize you do not lack desire to express. You just went too long without a safe space to express. You do not need no care from others. You are just afraid that once you speak, all the peace you desperately maintained will shatter. You are not naturally meek. You just understood too early that conflict means danger. You are not afraid of anger. You are afraid of losing connection. Afraid that I don't like it will make others leave. Afraid that I disagree will make relationships fragile. So you tucked away sharpness, tucked away needs, even tucked away yourself. You were never weak. You were just wise too early. You knew to hide the fuse before others exploded. You thought it was kindness. Actually, it was defense. You thought it was calm. Actually, it was freeze. Until one day, in some situation, you finally say, I don't want this. Though your voice shakes, heart races, but you do not apologize. You do not smile to ease. You just stop there, admitting you have emotions, boundaries, the right to feel uncomfortable. That moment, you realize you do not want to be a no-trouble person. You just crave a world that does not need you to desperately maintain. You do not need to trade understanding for existence. You do not need to prove worth with concessions. You do not need to always smile. To be worthy of liking, you can be angry, can refuse, can have stances, and still have people stay by your side. Still have people willing to approach. Not because you're easy to get along with, but because you are real. Everything you did in the past was not wrong. It was the only thing you could do then. It was the protective mechanism you built with instinct. And now you are slowly learning. You can be safe without relying on these. It wasn't weakness, it was wisdom. You weren't silent. You were surviving. You do not need to blame that past self. She was not wrong. She just wanted everything to be okay. She has done enough. Now, it is time to tell her. You can let go. You start to understand that healing is not never fearing again. But when fearing, no longer denying yourself, you will still tense in conflicts. Still subconsciously want to ease everything. Still unconsciously want everyone satisfied. But now you will pause and ask, what about me? Am I comfortable? Is this something I should bear? You are not becoming harsh from now on. You just no longer default to yielding. You learn to pull your hand back from the peacemaker position. Place it on your chest. Feel the real heartbeat and fatigue. You start practicing expression, even if just saying, I don't feel like talking right now. You start practicing refusal, even if your heart still shakes. I know you have emotions, but this is not my responsibility. You start practicing, not explaining, even if others do not understand. You are not betraying the self that always maintained peace. You are just telling her you have grown up. You now have the ability to protect yourself. No need to trade for calm by pleasing others. You can choose silence, or choose to speak. Can be a coordinator, or just an ordinary person. No longer always sensible, no longer forever gentle. But with choices, you start to learn. Not all relationships are worth maintaining. Not all silence equals maturity. Not all "I'm fine" means really fine. Sometimes you still yield, but you know you are yielding, not forced to disappear. You can finally see clearly. The past you was not wrong. She was just too lonely. You start leaving space for yourself, no longer filling every silence, no longer smoothing every frown, no longer bearing everyone's emotional ups and downs. You finally know. You can just be you. Not the atmosphere coordinator. Not the unconditional understander. Not the no trouble to anyone ghost. You are a complete person. With fear, fatigue, gentleness, vulnerability, persistence, and desires. Healing isn't becoming someone new. It's remembering who you were before fear told you to disappear. You do not need to become a better person. You just need to return to that you before learning to fear. She has always been there, waiting for you to turn around, waiting for you to say, "I am back now."